Hi, everybody. Good evening. Uh, Wednesday night has come upon us once again. I still don't know what I'm doing with this time, but I am actually thinking about it now. So sometime soon, I'll have something planned for this. I promise. Until then, we're just gonna keep doing what we're here to do, which is we're gonna get right into the game and the details of it. And I'm gonna keep adjusting my camera because it was sitting funny. Okay. Kay, you were gonna catch us up. What happened last time?
Yes, I am. I would just like to draw attention to the
Yeah.
very lovely toque that has made its appearance and debut on the stream.
Oh, thank you.
It's quite dapper. Yes, so last week we searched. Oh, words are hard. Oh no, it's only the start of the session. We completed the other half of the Chaos Temple, starting with a room that had a pile of rock, a pile of parchment, and a pile of shears. We had to figure out how to play that game, which was actually easier than we thought. But we did avoid that at first, thinking, well, maybe we should actually do the thing we got here for. Turns out the other room said, yeah, don't come in here unless you figured out all the puzzles. But we figured it out. It opened up the. We figured out the last puzzle, which opened up the door where Rivet was. And Rivet was just casually having a very nice conversation with Kurt. We met Kurt 2 weeks ago. Odd fellow. Anyway, uh they may or may not have also been playing D&D or discussing theoretical histories of other nations, other worlds, places that our characters have no idea about. Though I'm certain it might have had something to do with like nuclear developments or understanding science as we know it in our world. But that's neither here nor there. Um let's see what else. Oh right. We knew we had to wait an hour, so we went to another puzzle room where we basically, if we could throw something of value at a target and it landed, we got something of value back. Very carnival style game. And then at the end, we got the opportunity to all participate together to aim at one target and get something amazing back, which we did. We got some potions. Roz got a pet rock named Marble. And we have a dollhouse that becomes a big house when we want it to. It's going to be very useful. It's going to be great. We got Rivet. We were allowed to leave, just walk out. There was no conflict. It was nothing to be concerned about here. Which makes all the players very nervous and the characters very relieved. And we left and went to a gift shop. And we have hoodies now. It's quite fantastic. Roz may or may not have overspent. And then we went back to camp, where Titan was. And Titan had been accomplishing a lot of things while we were gone. Titan talked to the Chapter of Fire, to Vitrara, to understand things about Primordial Core, because Titan is up to stuff. And Aladade woke up, Audie's brother. Titan has a plan to fix his arm by possibly giving him one of his own. We're going to see how that plays out in the future. This was discussed at length with Bandit. And then we all met up. And then Lilith's guest arrived, who is her brother, who we all definitely didn't know was actually showing up. And that's kind of where we left off. We were on our way to the Dusty Daisy with Theron.
Hmm. Does anybody have anything that they would like to add?
That seemed very concise. Thank you.
Okay. If there's nothing else, we will begin again. Where we will hop right back into the session of everybody heading to the Daisy, wherein a table is procured, and everybody who is interested is invited to have a meal with Theron and Lilith as they catch up in a very sibling-like fashion. The Daisy at 2 p.m. is busy. This is lunchtime. But due to those who can afford to eat here, either working mercenaries or those of a bit of repute or wealth already, um, It's one of the times where tables are often occupied, but the lingering crowd is not as dense or thick, um, since not everybody always has money to spare. You get a table that can accommodate all everybody present. Uh, Theron takes charge, goes up to the counter, orders a round of meals, drinks, and makes sure to pay for everything up front. Uh, he sits back down at the table, takes the head, um, and will just sort of fold his hands together in a steeple and kind of look across the table, ending with Lilith and just giving a small smile. So, sister, how have you been?
I've been doing pretty well up until, well, all of this happened, but even now, I think I've been managing well enough.
It's good to hear. You've adapted to the. He kind of looks around the war.
Uh, yeah, as it turns out, uh, I awakened.
Hmm.
Got a
Good
lot
news.
stronger very quickly, and wounds heal like overnight most of the time.
That's excellent news. Yeah, hopefully, Mother's training has come in handy now.
It has. Took a few years for it to settle in, I guess.
I think hoping she might have triggered it sooner by being as tough on you as she was. Better late than never, I suppose.
True. Um, I have a pretty good idea of what Mother's been up to, but what about you and Solana?
Solana is currently moving around Strider units, getting them in the positions to allow them to do the reconnaissance work, to exfiltrate refugees from difficult positions on the side of the continent, and the areas where the gnomes have entrenched camps for their resources on other continents. Um, as for myself, I was promoted to captain, um, and we're busy missions, gathering intelligence. Uh, I I suppose it's been a while. I guess I'm making just assumptions of things. For the last 5 years or so, I was working up towards it, but in the last handful of years, I managed to get into WISE, the Warfare Intelligence and Security Enforcement uh, organization. So yeah, it's been a lot ever since this started happening. Um, Even more so.
Congratulations.
Thank you. To be honest with you, I think you're one of the first people who've actually congratulated me on it. There hasn't really been a lot of time to appreciate it.
I think most people that know you probably expect it was bound to happen one day or another.
Well, yeah, that's true. And even Mother's acknowledgement was mostly just a nod. Um, but you know how that goes. Let's not dwell on the things happening around us right now. Um, what about all of you? You've been with Lilith for some time now. Why don't you tell me a bit about my sister? Help catch us up some.
I'll go on, Roz.
Someone else should go first, probably. That's on meeting. So,
What do you mean? She fell into our lives just like a shooting star, didn't she?
I don't think shooting stars wash up in a river, but
What do you do if you fall on one?
Hmm. Solana mentioned that was how you arrived in Greenwood, but you don't look any worse for the wear. It, is that your awakening that patched up anything, or
no, the awakening happened after the war started when we ran away. Uh, as far as being patched up, though, we have Titan over there to thank for it.
then I have to extend my thanks
It
again.
wasn't anything complicated. Broken bones, dislocations, cuts here and there.
Had she not been found, it could have been considerably worse, so we appreciate the timeliness in which she was rescued and that your expertise was there. Not all small villages have a capable doctor.
Nope. I was the best doctor for miles around.
Probably still are.
No, you can walk a few hundred feet to get to a better doctor here.
Strangely braggadocious of you and humble in the same statement. All right. You've managed to pass it around the table some, but some of you haven't spoken up. I do insist all of you would have a different perspective. I would surely like to hear it. You have to have a memory of my
everybody
sister.
seems weirdly dodgy, so Titan's happy to just launch into, the life Lilith led in Greenwood. Pretty quiet. Took over as an assistant at the inn. Seemed hesitant to actually have a house and put down roots, but seemed to enjoy the life well enough.
Why so resistant to having a home built for you, Lilith?
No, part of me still kind of wanted to go out and explore, and honestly, it's only been a few years. I was half expecting Mother to show up at some point and drag me by the ear back to Saphinus.
For better or worse, she was probably just too busy to really have the consideration to do it.
I kind of figured that much.
You'll still have plenty of opportunities to explore, especially now that you've awakened. Opens up a lot of doors, new and old.
What about Father? Has he been around at all?
He visited a month ago. Came through, checked in on the family, Mother. He said he needed to go gather his other family since the war had started to make sure that no other Star Elves or the Oldas were left caught up somewhere in the war, given how many of them travel alone. And much as normal for him, we attempted to dissuade him since it would be dangerous. And when we couldn't dissuade him, we at least insisted he allow us to send one of the house warriors with him, to which he also declined. And much as he often arrives, he was gone before we really had much more of a chance to argue with him about it.
I'm sure he can handle himself just fine.
He's always reliably shown back up. We're not too worried about it. That being said, I think it would be nice for all of us to have a family dinner together at some point. It's been a while since all of us have been under the same roof.
Would be nice, yeah. Might have to wait for the war to end, though.
Unfortunate, but true. And should the time come, you're more than welcome to bring your new family here as well. Or a date, if you'd like.
Who's who said anything? She just has friends, good friends, best friends, besties, if you will. No dates. This carrot soup is delicious. I needed it after being turned into a horse. I'm gonna eat more of it before I say anything else stupid.
Audie has a sadistic grin just watching this all happen.
Titan's just like massaging just right above his right eyebrow.
Mm-hmm.
Corona's just silently enjoying the food.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to show them Saffron someday. Considering how close we are, it might be sooner rather than later, but, well, family's not exactly there right now.
Well, that much is true. Mother is coming and going pretty frequently. You could hypothetically run into her. A lot of the war council is held back in the capital, but as much as the way our mother often does, she leads from the front, so she's usually out fighting as well.
I sent her a letter after one of my first missions, just give her a small update.
Yes, I'm aware of the letter.
Wasn't really sure what the best way to reach out after a few years was. It seemed appropriate.
It was the best thing you could do in the situation that we're in. Just know that pretty much all letters going to the capital now, especially being delivered to someone like Mother, is screened first. So,
Yeah.
if you're going to
Wilbur
include
warned me
something,
about
just know
that.
someone else is going to read it first. Although, if you could give me a heads up of any in the future, if there is something you want to perhaps keep at least within the family, and let me know that you're sending the letter, I can be the one to read it and sign off on it.
Keep that in mind.
Hmm.
We'll kind of glance around the table. You don't have to hold back if you want to tell any stories. It's fine, really. Yes, that includes you, Roz.
No. Don't give me this kind of permission. I can't be trusted.
That's an interesting choice of words. So why shouldn't we trust
really
you?
Is.
You're here sitting at the table, so clearly we trust you to a degree.
You're a pint of ale, she'll tell you whatever you want. Easiest interrogation of your life.
Everyone on the damn floor. Shut up.
Well, this isn't an interrogation. I was hoping to just receive some honest answers and information so that way I could perhaps, you know, get to know and hear about some things that my sisters lived through that we haven't been able to be there for.
Well,
And-
she's a decent dancer, and far to play it for her own good.
And also, hypothetically speaking, if you wanted to make good inroads with the family for whatever reason, political aspirations, a desire to train among some of the best warriors on the continent, for instance, just possible answers. My sister and I, Solana, are a lot easier to speak with than our mother, and making friends of us first would probably go a great distance if you needed to perhaps earn her approval for something, such as something in the political sphere, or training.
We are
I
just
swear they're usually a lot more talkative than this.
well, to be honest, we're all just a very humble townsfolk now, aren't we? That it no political aspirations here.
Speak for yourself. I like making friends.
Oh, I said nothing about making friends. I just don't like climbing ladders. That's all.
Again, speak for yourself. I like climbing ladders so much I damn near got cut in half over it.
Go on.
Oh, well, all right.
Pick the fight with the tyrant.
Oh, no. I want to tell this story, actually, because it's incredibly stupid on my part. I was looking for the various mercenary groups, checking out what they were all about, and I, for whatever damn dumb reason, decided that everyone was wrong about Tatiana's tyrants, and I decided to go over there personally. Despite the fact that I had a relic of the old dead legion that she really wanted. Long story short on that, I wasn't using it the way that she liked, and when she brought that fact up, I decided to take it personally. And then I decided I'll pick a fight with a woman that I'm pretty sure is halfway to demigod. She almost killed me.
Would have killed you if they didn't stop her.
The only thing that saved me was the Immortal Bastion liking me enough that they were worried about me doing exactly what I did. So I'm a pretty ambitious lass, I guess, because I am not afraid of even Tatiana. Probably should be.
All reports say you should be.
Oh, I agree. I think that part of my brain is broken.
For what it's worth, there are definitely uses for talents like that, especially during war times.
Bravery. Of course there are. Just tends to get you killed.
And that's why you pair that bravery with someone else who can temper it a little.
Right. Which is all of them, including your sister, who's very cautious. Keeps me from doing stupid things like running into a portal to the Merc.
I feel like you've all managed to skip all the most interesting things that have happened to you all.
It has been an interesting 2 weeks.
Okay, how about I order a second round of drinks and we try this again? And let's not skip portals to the Merc, fighting demigods, or anything else.
Only if you promise to share some of your own. There's no fair you learning everything about us and we learn nothing about you.
I can definitely talk about some things and definitely not talk about others. But
then best make sure you don't bring up the things you can't talk about.
that is the idea. Yeah. Of the various party shenanigans, I suppose it'll be easier to ask. What things do you not tell Theron?
How many drinks does he buy Roz?
He pours money as much as he pours drinks, so probably until people are shit faced.
Audie did give him the key for Roz telling all of her secrets.
There is no information he could not get out of Roz by casually referencing it.
Okay.
The best question is, how many drinks does it take to go, and your sister's my girlfriend?
That's a fantastic question. I don't know. Does Lilith ever stop Roz from mentioning it?
No, I think at this point, especially seeing that he's buying drinks for the table and just refilling, she knows it's a losing battle, so she's just gonna let it happen.
Then I think it's about the third drink in. She's just telling everything. Stream of consciousness.
Mm-hmm. To which then anybody in the party stopping Roz from talking about anything, or is just like stream of consciousness catch up? Perfect.
I'm
I'm
trying
just
to think.
curious what comes out first. The fact that they're dating or the fact that Lilith is holding an Empyrean relic on her person.
Ooh.
I was gonna say, I think that's probably one of the few things that Audie wouldn't bring up, because she's like, no, the brooch is off limits.
Yeah, Titan would actively stop Roz from talking about it.
In that
If-
case, the fact that
if
they're
any-
dating comes up first.
I was gonna say, if anything, we'd probably be like, so Roz, who's your favorite person? And definitely not anything else.
Ross starts talking about the relic. Gets 2 foot into both her feet, stopping.
Fair enough. I won't pry any further. And then Theron will do his half of the deal, to which he will talk a bit about what it was like being raised in the the Ilana family, and the expectations that their mother placed on all of her children. And he'll talk about a bit of his earlier missions when he was still yet training, and not having been assigned to a division yet. Is frequently how elves and Saphonis go about their military service. Is that they will train, they will find strengths and skills, and those observing and training them will eventually assign them to a division they think they're best suited for. But then when he actually gets into his time serving in Wise, he kind of abruptly stops, and he'll put down his drink and go, and the rest of it is confidential, unfortunately. A lot of the fun stories I could tell, I can't tell. Except treason and execution. So I'm not gonna. No, I shouldn't do that. So I mean, this has been very informative. Allow me to pose a question. Because while I was here with the intent to visit Lilith and catch up, since being here and speaking to Covert and now speaking to all of you and getting a better, more informed description of everything going on here, allow me to pose this question out loud. Out of the mercenary companies present, peoples or individuals even, if I wanted to take one of them, who would cause the biggest, loudest distraction?
You looking for distractions or destructions?
Could be both.
I suppose the counter question is that has how much you're paying someone. Somebody will be more of a racket the more you pay them.
That's fair. The sum is not insignificant. depending
you're
upon
looking,
who they are.
if you're looking for big and flashy and eye-catching, the chapter of fire would probably be good.
It nods. I would also recommend the Chapter of Fire if it's about being loud and flashy. They'd be more than willing to do it.
It's also
But
about
if the goal is
survival.
to be surviving and just distraction and destruction, then probably Tatiana's tyrants.
You just can't really put much of control on that. She'll have to agree whether or not. I don't know if you can really buy her. I mean, imagine you can buy her, everybody has a price, but she kind of has a mind of her own too.
It would be strange if she didn't. Yeah, those are two viable options. All right. I suppose I can tell this to all of you because I'm going to announce it just before my leaving, and I'm going to take the information with me. There is a mission that I'm essentially going around scouting prospects for. There is a large refinery that we've discovered, and we want to destroy it. And he picks up one of the shot glasses and he kind of stomps it onto the table. Then he'll take a couple of the grapes on his plate and he'll kind of surround it. We want to create a distraction, a very loud distraction, one that will draw a lot of attention to it, and ideally keep them there for a time being. And then we're going to take a bunch of smaller individuals and begin rolling the grapes around the shot glass to the back and towards it. And get some people inside. And we're going to have a group that's going to be responsible for setting up demolitions. And we're going to have a group responsible for gathering intelligence. And we're going to have a group responsible for killing the officers inside. I suppose the point is, if perhaps any of this sounds of interest to you, or if you really think there's someone you know that'd be well suited for the job, let me know. It does pay well, and it comes with awards from the Saphinus Armory. The Striders, Melody, are preoccupied. The disadvantage to our military structure is that very well-trained, experienced soldiers, just very few of them. The reason why the war front is being held up by Bellwyn's Harbor Watch. Because in terms of ground troops, we don't have many.
That's all well and good. My point's going to stand in. Just the fact that if you need people to sneak in, you're asking for people to make a ruckus, be outside, and survive. Chapter of Fire is good for that. Tatiana's Tart's good for that, as we all mentioned. But if you want people to get in, League of Phantoms might be what you're looking for. Or not looking for, as the case may be.
All right. I hear you. Snatches up a grape and eats it. And I won't take away the opportunity for some odd reason you all wanted an opportunity to participate as well. Can't exactly encourage you to. Risks are very high, danger is very high. And while there are rewards at the end of it to encourage mercenaries to participate, by comparison to the danger and the threat level, they don't quite compare.
I think we'll probably have to think on it and compare it to other missions that might be available at the time.
Of course. Figured I'd just leave that on the table. If nothing else, I can borrow some of the other mercenaries from here. Especially if any of the ones you've mentioned are troublemakers, I can borrow them from a bit and give the camp time to breathe.
If you want a discount on working with the chapter of fire, give them some good history lessons.
Well, the Aelana are filled with interesting history lessons. And now that we've kind of come to this point, Lilith, there is something I want to mention to you. It's about family matters. However, it is up to you as to who you want to share it with, since it will become public information in time. So whether or not if you want your friends here to know about it or not, it involves Mother.
I'll think for a moment. She's clearly trying to think of like what it is, but I'll just give it a shrug. I'm sure it's fine for them to know if it's going to be public anyway.
All right. This war has taken a lot of people off balance, unsurprisingly. However, even the couple of weeks in which we've been entrenched and fighting have been bad enough that people are already considering stopgaps to prevent the next war when this one's in their history pages. The short of this is Mother has taken a consort, and her plan is to raise several children to essentially create a task force capable of stopping wars like this in the future. It's pretty clear that when Theron's talking about it, you can see there's like a bit of discomfort that he has kind of saying it out loud in the way that he has.
Forgive me if this might be rude to ask, but isn't that quite common?
It's not uncommon for elves of high station to take on consorts. No, it's fairly common. It's the manner in which our mother has planned to raise the children. They're not being given a choice as to the life that awaits them. They are going to be bred to be soldiers of the greatest caliber in history. Even the consort in question was chosen to support this. Will be a historical matchmaking.
I might not want to know the answer to this. Maybe I'm prying too much. I'm sorry. What if the children are failures?
Theron, now with a kind of hovering like hands over his drink, just sort of shrugs. I assume some will wash out, and others will succeed. I don't think it will be such a state that those who don't cut it will just be eliminated. They'll be allowed to go live their lives, I suspect. It doesn't change the fact that how that life will start could potentially leave them, scarred for a certain period of time for the rest of their lives, long as they will be.
And catch me up real quick because I'm having a little trouble with context right now. But it to me it sounds like a bad thing to force children down a very specific life path,
Mm-hmm.
especially one that's probably going to get them killed eventually,
Mm-hmm.
you're not a fan of this.
No, I'm not. I
Okay, good.
I would prefer children especially have a choice in the matter.
Oh, good. Because I was gonna call this whole idea fucking weird. Who has children just to have soldiers? That's wrong. That's just wrong.
It's not uncommon in some families for their children to have to wait to parents on them, no.
Well, that's not
Mother's
uncommon.
Mother's always been pretty stuck in her ways, but this is another level even for her.
I suspect it was a shared idea between her and her new consort. They agreed even to the extremeness of the plan. Which I suppose when you have two people who have lived through many wars and have memories of many wars and the carnage it leaves behind, they perhaps get tired of living through them longer. It seems to be their answer. Flawless it might be.
Seems more like she's being made to pay for the fact that she wanted to marry out of love.
Her arm's not being twisted. I don't think anybody can twist our mother's arm in this regard. There's a mutual respect that was used to decide this. Just because I disagree with it doesn't mean that it's out of place. This is completely within the realm of what our mother would do.
I um listen. If Lilith and I keep dating for a long time, and I hope we do, because uh I love her very, very much. I was hoping to come to family dinner and meet everyone, but I'm not sure anymore. Your mom sounds like a bitch.
She's definitely prickly. And contrary to stories that might have been told to you, or the impressions that I've given off, rightfully so, she does in fact love her children, which is very contrary to the information I've just revealed to you all.
Right, she loves the children that she's already had, but the next children, those are just, you know, fodder for the future meat grinders.
Yes, no plan is perfect.
Do we even know exactly why this war started yet?
I can't go into great detail, but it wouldn't matter even if I could, because the answer is no. We sent emissaries to speak on our behalf. They were killed. Some never returned. We've sent in armed delegations to try to protect them, to continue trying to extend some sort of branch of peace. Every branch has been set on fire.
Seems,
Sense eater.
it seems a little early to be planning on preventing the next war when we don't even know what caused this one.
Well, we're just foot soldiers here, but it doesn't even make sense. I've been there last summer. I had family that were sending letters. There was no unrest. Brazil was a surprise to everybody.
Exactly. things were perfectly fine. People were happy. Things were operating. Trade was okay. No border disputes. The elder races on Kendrasa haven't had a significant conflict in recorded history. But genocidal war against ancient gods tends to bring those close together. And at the very least here, we never turned onto each other. That's why this has been so surprising and damaging and difficult to deal with. But that kind of betrayal has apparently struck different people in different ways.
I don't know. It just feels weird to me. You're right, it is something she would do, but mostly I'm in the same boat as you. I don't agree with it. It feels wrong.
Yes. Well, I was just the deliverer of that news. When that time comes, if it comes, perhaps their mind changes between now and then. We can do something about it should it turn out the way we think it will.
So, who's this consort?
I've been purposely waiting for someone to ask the question. And he takes his two index fingers and he does a little drum roll on the table. Halir, a former title bearer, god of justice, one of the original warriors from the War of Creation, one of the firstborn elves.
The moment he announces it, Audie immediately chokes on her drink, like that perfect moment where she just goes to take a sip and is like crawled under the table to cough so she doesn't like make a ruckus.
That's what you get. Sorry.
Someone pat the lass on the back.
No.
I
Pleasure so far.
Can't argue. You can't really quite argue her choice of men, though, can you?
Nope. No, you can't.
Of course you can. You can argue against that choice all you like.
Yes.
It's not exactly like they're doing it for love.
The more you argue, the higher your likeliness to be cut in half gets. You know a thing or two about that.
Whichever. I've fought with someone who could definitely kill me before. I'd yell at a god. I'll fist fight a god. I won't win, but I'll do it.
Right. Bravery, yes.
Besides, Ross, we all both know that while your experience might be different, having sex for love is not exactly the most common thing in the world either.
Breeding a bunch of task force based soldiers, spies, isn't a great reason, though, in my opinion.
Oh, I didn't say it was a great reason. I just said there have been worse reasons.
Worst case scenario, we could use our favor with the adjutants to ask him not to do that.
Oh, I'm sure that'd work.
I don't know if our favor quite extends to Hilaire.
We could try.
It might get you an audience at best.
I'm not sure if going through Halir is the best way to do it. Maybe.
I don't know. I think my mom's more stubborn.
Agreed.
All right. But she's your mother. She loves you enough to listen, at least, doesn't she?
Yeah, I
Mm,
have no doubt that she would listen to me. Whether or not I could change her mind is a completely different thing. I told her for years I wasn't cut out for her training, and she kept pushing me.
mm-hmm.
Clearly, the answer is just to ensure there's never a war ever again. So the plan is to make sure that absolutely everybody becomes friends in the world. That's the easier answer here.
I'm pretty sure I read a visual novel about that, but it involved a lot of brainwashing.
I'm sure that's possible too.
No, there's definitely a moral gray area there you don't cross over into.
Right, because breeding an army of children is definitely not a moral gray area.
Well, I didn't say it wasn't. I'm just saying we can't control who crosses that line, but that one in this hypothetical scenario, we probably shouldn't.
That's why it's important that people who have that ability don't use it for bad things.
Very wise of you.
Right, so I'm more motivated to end this war and figure out why it happened and hope that it's some giant misunderstanding or some weird thing that can be explained in a way that would make us not want to prepare for future wars.
Optimistic. Guess we have to get there first.
If I'm optimistic about anything, it's that I really still don't believe the gnomes would just attack for no reason.
Had to have been a mad scientist or something. Would be
What?
the first person in history books to just lose their marbles.
Yes,
No
but
offense, marbles.
it spins in a circle in the dirt. The problem is, one mad scientist doesn't explain what's happened. It is a large collaborative effort that is proven to have been decades, if not hundreds of years in the making. They have bases around major resources they need to fuel their war machines. People, their flesh and blood soldiers have barely even entered the conflict. The only time we actually see a gnome fighting is when there's a significant point of control or intelligence necessary to stay operating. Otherwise, the automatons do all of the work. The problem is that they are likely to bleed us dry in a war of attrition when our soldiers have finally perished defending against the automatons, and then when it is necessary, they can finally deploy their actual foot soldiers, and we won't have anything left. They'll just sweep across the continent. If it were just one mad scientist, this wouldn't be a war. If it were a cult, this wouldn't be a war. Near as we can tell, the people that are in the capital city aren't being held hostage. Perhaps if you
Everyone's
know
still alive?
somebody, you talk to somebody there, you might be able to get answers. Are you asking if the people in the city are alive?
Yeah. Has anybody been over there?
We've managed glimpses. And the short answer of all that is yes. As a matter of fact, the interior of the city looks much the same as it always has. Bustling, businesses open, restaurants open, inventors inventing, wares being peddled on the street. Major gnomish foundries producing and creating. And there was even a time where we entertained the conspiracy theory that they somehow managed to create a bubble around the capital city and that they are completely unaware of what's happening outside. There's no way that would hold up forever.
It would if somebody told them that there was something dangerous on the outside.
But that would
No,
just
you tell enough people that there's something dangerous outside, and a handful of them will at least want to go and check it out.
Maybe.
the
The
gnomes are
capital's
too
a pretty comfortable
curious.
place.
Why
That's true.
they wouldn't sit there and do nothing? If anything, they would begin to wonder what is so dangerous keeping them inside their walls and what has happened to everybody else. Why hasn't anybody else checked up on them? As I've said, we've been neighbors for as long as time in this world has existed. We've never had conflict amongst each other because we've always defended one another. If they were that deeply under threat, we would have contacted them. We would have done everything in our power to see them. Much in the same way that they would burrow out of their own defended city if they had to.
Maybe they're prisoners as well.
I assume that they're not getting any merchant caravans or anything heading into the city.
No. They haven't for weeks. But they don't need it. They've been gathering their own materials from around the world and sending them to foundries that they've secured in other locations.
Yeah, I'm just
And
saying that average citizens would have noticed that, right? By now. It's strange.
yes, if this situation were normal, we could figure it out, but that's just it. Enough gnomes knowing what's happening. There's just no way that everybody agreed to a unified war against the rest of the world. It just wouldn't happen. There would be dissenters.
There'd be some kind of sign there'd be a civil war before an actual war.
And yet, things were normal, and then suddenly automatons knocking down doors, kidnapping people. There is something deeply wrong with this conflict that started. You don't need to be an intelligence officer to know that. The problem is that there's no easy or obvious way to identify what's so wrong about it, and that makes it all the more dangerous. We assume, hypothetically speaking, that conversations have been had of beings, creatures, otherworldly deities with power enough to enthrall a whole race of people, or to alter their realities in a fashion that they no longer see their neighbors as friends, but as foes. And all it does is continue to make the situation more impossible, because if we can't fight the war, because then we're killing innocents that don't know any better. But if we don't defend ourselves, then we all die anyway. There is no good answer to what's happening.
All we can really do is fight back as best we can and hope that we can figure out what's going on and put a stop to it.
And thus, going all the way back to the mission I mentioned, what we're trying to do. If we limit the amount of automatons they can deploy and repair, then we can actually start freezing the war front and start pushing back. If we can actually get within the borders of Azale, we might be able to get into some of the major outer cities and see what they look like, maybe get a better understanding as to what's happening.
Oh, that reminds me, there's a prisoner released. I'm sure they want I'm sure they want some oh. Body kind of looks around looking for the word. I'm sure they want to fight back. Hybrid. I'm sure Hybrid wants to lay some pain back to the people that hurt them.
Well,
We also took a prisoner of our own, but I don't think we've gotten much out of them.
Mm. Which one? I was informed of 2 prisoners that have entered this camp, one of which has died.
Probably that one.
Yeah, bleeding in the brain.
I punched him a few times.
Yeah, that happens. Prisoners can be tricky. The other one I'll be taking back with me, though, so we can try to get anything out of him. Sorry. I have a couple drinks and I can't help myself sometimes. Luckily, no sensitive information got out, but I didn't mean for this conversation to turn the way that it did.
We're in
So
a
he
war
has this
camp. It
weakness, I
happens.
see.
Oh, hang on. I have good hearing, but one at a time.
Little emotion for Audie.
Well, I was just pointing out that your brother has a weakness. I didn't think we'd see it. He seemed like he just has it all put together.
Or maybe it's all an act.
And Audie kind of like waggles her fingers, like, ooh.
Maybe I haven't had a single drink. Maybe the sentient blob hiding within my armor has been drinking it for me.
Sentient blob's been drinking for you? Marble? Can you drink? This is my sentient blob.
That looks like a rock.
It's a sentient rock.
I don't think he can drink.
No, I think he'd be real mad if I poured liquid on him, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Become mud.
Anecdotally and unrelated to anything we've talked about, there is a scientist in Saphinus working on some various projects I can't mention. However, their thesis they were working on at Mythlight was actually on booze elementals. They basically managed to create elemental spirits that take on their physical forms using liquor and alcohol.
They're elemental spirits.
Yeah, you're not the first one to do that, and rightfully not the last. I really don't know what his goal was with doing that, but he succeeded.
I'd ask why, but really, Mythlight is the only answer that I need.
That is the correct answer, yes. Very few
He
sane
looks
people.
fun at parties.
Oh, you know the scientist in question.
Hayden shrugs. Don't know if I'm allowed to share names, but
Just
yeah.
Just answer me this. Did you drink an elemental?
Sadly, no.
Hmm.
I would have loved to.
I imagine that's probably an experiment that he would want done. Specifically a dragon eye and an elemental spirit.
Shouldn't we just be calling them elementals?
And on that wonderful note, I'm going to go. This conversation's been great and enlightening, but I need to go help make dinner.
Didn't we just finish eating?
Well, yeah, but I gotta go to the bastion and help make dinner.
Right. Do you want help?
Do you want to meet the leaders of the Immortal Bastion?
If no one else objects, I wouldn't hate the idea of getting around to knowing, meeting some of the other mercenaries.
They're
Great.
some of the nicest ones in the camp.
Roz seems a little drunk to be doing it on her own.
Little's an understatement.
What are you calling little?
You, Pipsqueak.
Mmm.
Come on, steady yourself. We'll get you there.
I'll be fine in like an hour.
And given the circumstances, I think the correct nomenclature would have been pint-sized.
Oi!
We just want to make sure she doesn't get into any fights on the way over there.
That is correct, actually.
Just keep her on the opposite side of the road of the tyrants, and we should be fine.
All right, no fights. Let's go visit the Immortal Bastion. You introduce me. We can help cook. Yeah,
Great.
I'm quite good in the kitchen, actually.
Oh, good. You'll fit right in. And when you're done eating dinner there, the tyrants are right across the street, and I'm not going to go there with you because if I went in there, they'd probably kill me.
I feel like those are all completely accurate statements, which are surprising given your current inebriated state.
Well, the bad news of awakening as the heroic gene is
Mhm.
I still get drunk just as fast, but I don't get to stay drunk. I'll be sober in like some amount of time.
Well, it's a little bit of practice, too.
Vague. You know, same scientist I mentioned has alcohol that can keep people like you drunk, like normally. So
Ooh,
I'll send a few bottles this way, in case all of you
okay.
happen to find a need.
Okay. I don't know how we're getting on with you, but so far, I like you.
Appreciate it. I try to make friends where I go.
Well, I guess I'll lead the way then.
Okay. I'm gonna hold you.
Drag Roz by the arm. Doesn't get lost on the way.
All right. And all together, we head from the Daisy to the Immortal Bastion camp. Roz occasionally staggering on the way there. And you arrive at the camp. Business as usual. You can already smell and hear the initial preparations for their dinner. You'll be greeted by a couple of hearty hellos and a couple of chortles as they watch Roz make her way into camp, plastered.
The plastered Roz is actively digging through her backpack as she goes and pulling out the souvenir t-shirt that she's bought in anyone's size for each person she passes.
Yeah, you hand out your gifts. People happily accept them. Some laugh. Some laugh awkwardly. Some just chuckle kind of offhanded. But most people tend to enjoy it. You'll get to the backside of the camp where the large tent is, and the cook area is off to the side. And you're finally greeted by Lucius, who is cleaning the interior of the large tent and getting ready to set up the tables. I had a feeling you were coming, Roz, and I had a feeling you were drunk, given that I could sense you zigzagging all the way here.
So great to see you too. By the way, this is Theron Alana. He wanted to meet with some of the mercenaries here.
Lucius, one half of the commanders of the Immortal Bastion. And he walks up, extends a hand, dwarfing Theron, but they exchange a hearty shake. We're preparing dinner. You're welcome to stay with us and have some if you like. Same goes for all of you, as you know.
I'm gonna have to decline dinner. I just ate. But I needed to return to Squeezebox to your sister. Oof. I didn't need it on a mission, though.
Yeah, that's fine. Lucilla's just over there helping prepare dinner.
And audio flounce off.
I mean, I'll just ask: is there a great need to see a second meal all the way through?
I don't think so personally.
Yeah, probably not.
Same, yeah. To which then I will ask: is who's going to linger here and either socialize, hang out, and or have a second meal, and who would go and politely excuse themselves, and therefore are you spending any time doing something?
Corona would excuse herself. And she would. It's still pretty early, right? Because we got
About 4
done
p.m.
with that mission. Okay, 4 p.m. Yeah, actually, she would probably try and seek out Bandit. Actually,
Okay.
that's what she's doing.
Okay. Put a pin in that. Anybody else?
Lilith is sticking by her brother for now.
I'm pretty sure that Audie would take this time to practice. It's been kind of a long day, and she hasn't had the opportunity to find a quiet spot to go sing. So she'll probably wander camp just a little bit first, try and sober up a little bit because she did also have drinks, and then wander outside of camp to find her little place to sing. Not before leaving the bastion. Again, she'll leave the concertina with Lucilla.
Mm-hmm.
And before leaving, she'll come back up to Theron, and I guess just kind of extend her hand. She'll be like, "And Theron and Anna, it was thoroughly delightful to meet you. I mean, Lilith hasn't really told us anything about her family other than the fact that she has one, but it was very delightful to meet you. And in the event that you ever want to have the conversation with someone of, well, no political aspirations whatsoever, always glad to have a drink. And it doesn't have to be liquor. I drink tea or coffee or water or anything. Well, good night.
Pleasure meeting you. Have a good night, Melody. Off you skip. I suppose. So that just leaves Ben. Is Titan Stainer going?
I mean, that's very dependent on the Immortal Bastion. He'll inquire if they want his help studying the curse a bit more in depth, and if they're like not tonight, then he'll go off and do some studying.
Fair. They would say not right then. They'd probably invite you to come back in the morning when those that have the curse have more energy. So, not tonight.
Okay. Then yeah, he'll excuse himself and probably go off and have a quiet evening, studying Bandit's field medicine book and the theory on the heroic gene.
Okay. Yeah, sure. All right. In which case, we're gonna cut to Corona, who politely excused herself prior to the setup and prep for the Immortal Bastion's dinner, and you headed over to the White Cross Company camp.
Oh, sorry, my internet's going crazy. I guess.
You sound fine over here.
Okay. Just briefly disconnected. Sorry, I missed what you were saying.
You left Immortal Bastion camp, going to the White Cross Company camp.
Yes.
Given that it's still relatively early in the evening, when you get there, inquire of the sentries. They tell you that Bandit is currently just overseeing the training field, but you know how to
Okay.
get there.
Okay. Yeah, I think she would thank the sentries and probably make her way there, taking her time to think through what she's gonna say, and she'll patiently wait for a break in their routine, in their drills, to approach Bandit.
Um, yeah. You can see that Bandit, like, he's not actively participating. He's probably
Oh, okay.
he's probably a little bit past that age wise. He is just
He's just overseeing.
he's on the
basically.
sidelines, yeah, watching.
Okay. Okay. In that case, she'll approach. She'll make her presence known and call out to him and say, "Mr. Bandit, sir.
Corona,
Sorry to bother you." Right.
quite all
yes.
right. How can I help you? Lost the Bandit entirely.
She'll say, well, I see that you're a bit busy here, so I'm not gonna take up too much of your time, but um, I've been wondering if you might be able to help me out with something or direct me to someone who could. I've been meaning to try and learn how to do a little bit of medicine on the field, if you know what I mean. Uh, as you know, I'm with Titan the Doc, but he's the only one that really knows how to do too much of it in a pinch.
Hmm.
I've seen him go down a couple of times and it's been pretty scary, so I don't feel like it's fair for him to be the one that has to take on that whole responsibility. I'd like to be able to let him fall back on at least someone. I might not be as good as him or you, but that's what I'm here for. To try and learn.
That is a respectable desire to have, Corona. And perhaps with time, you can match up to either I or Titan. Uh, that being said, I will be more than willing to help instruct you on some things as necessary. Uh, I am remiss to admit that Titan has my field journal currently, something that I would normally in this situation pass off.
Hmm.
In that regard, I would recommend speaking to the good doctor and inquiring as to any time he is not reading it. Otherwise, I have some other literature here that I can provide, um, that our field medics train under at first to get an understanding as to how to apply emergency medicine in a battlefield condition.
Great. Yeah, I'm sure I could catch the doc for that book for the journal, but I'm sure it'll still be a while and a little bit of reading until I get to being knowledgeable enough to use that sort of information.
All in good time, Corona. Hey, follow me. I will go get one of those reference books for you.
All right. By your lead.
Hmm. Yeah, he'll walk you to the other side of the camp, down to the area that's between the residential and the quartermaster's area. And again, you can see White Cross Company operating. They function like a well-oiled machine. People are at posts even within inside the camp. The armory tent and the weapons tent. They even have their own forges within their their tent grounds that are operating constantly, repairing armor and equipment. And you can see all the various White Cross Company soldiers moving about, and they're almost never alone. Everybody tends to always be buddied up, if not within a squad of people. Kind of just part of their community and the way that they function. Eventually, you get brought to a tent that's on the far side of the requisitions area. Um, there's a medium to large size tent there that if people were standing shoulder to shoulder, could probably fit like 200 people or so. But inside, you can see that there is several cots lining either sides of the walls, and there are a couple of people that are currently inhabiting about half of them. And there are a few other members still in the White Cross Company tabards that are obviously tending to them. And you realize you walked into a medical tent. probably the medical tent for White Cross Company.
Mm.
Bandit will quietly walk his way over to one of the other individuals here. Looks like they've got dwarfish heritage, but not purely dwarfish heritage. No pointed ears, so at least not elf, but you can't really quite pinpoint what the other half is. But they have a noticeable try/scar kind of cut over one eye and down alongside the long side of their cheek going to their chin. It's discolored in that it's kind of white, a little off yellow.
Mm-hmm.
And you think this probably informed a bit of their name as Bandit walks over, pats this individual on the shoulders. White Scar. I need one of the training manuals for the field medics. All right, Bandit, just give me a second. You have a new interest in medicine? And White Scar stops and gives you a once-over Corona. Not easy work.
No, don't pretend it to be. I've spent some time at the tents tending to, or at least trying to tend to the people that have come in from missions. I know it's tough work. Most of the time, I feel like I just get in the way, but whether it's at the tents or out on the field, I'd like to be able to help people out.
They go over to a small side cabinet. They open it up. You can see there's a bunch of vials inside, gauze, bandages, and a bunch of other things needed for just treating wounds, basic wounds. And they'll go to one of the bottom shelves, and you can see there's a small stack of various pretty well-loved manuals and books. And he pulls one out and closes the cabinet, comes back over, and just extends it with one hand. It's kind of hanging there limply. If you can finish this and actually take something from it, you will be responsible for at least saving one more life than was lost. And that is the best we can do.
Krona will take the book with a nod. She'll give it a look over, and she'll uh, hold it close. Sorry, the words were escaping me. She'll hold it closely and tightly, and I think she's going to look at both White Scar and Bandit and say, "Thanks. I'm still new at this. I mean, you could probably tell I'm not the kind of folk that's used to being in a war. Worked at a farm before, tended to animals, did the farm work. I'm a simple woman, but I do tend to learn quick, and I try and give things my all. So I'll give this a read, and I suppose I'll hit the doc up on the side, see if he can lend that journal. And hey, if once I'm done, I'm sure to bring this back, and maybe I can put things to the test if I don't by the time that I'm done reading it. Hmm?
Feel free to stop by and ask any questions if you're not sure of anything.
Will do. Well, thanks, you two. Name's Corona, by the way. She'll extend her hand out to White Scar.
White Scar will shake your hand. Calloused, firm grip. A pleasure to meet you.
Likewise. All right. Well, it's starting to get late. Thank you, gentlemen.
Would you like me to walk you out, Corona?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say no to the company, but I know my way out.
I'm heading that way anyway.
All right. Sounds good. And I guess as they begin to head out, she'll give just like a little passing, wave of the hand to White Scar once again.
Weisgar will give you the nod of acknowledgement. So, Corona, how are you feeling since this whole conflict has started? You said that you just worked on a farm. This is a dramatic change. How are you handling it?
Well, to be fair, I did more than just work on a farm. I worked there to a point just to help out my mom and pa. But then I joined the watch that was at Greenwood for the better part of 10 years. So a good chunk of my life. Long and short of it is that before I joined the watch, there was an attack on Greenwood, which, was nothing like the one that we suffered now. But it was enough to get me worried and get me pent up. I almost lost my dad. It was because of the duck, because of Titan, that he's alive today. And I guess those 10 years were spent really wanting and waiting for something to happen, even though at the same time, I kind of didn't. It's not like anyone wants a war.
Mhm.
But yeah. So I've had my experience, but it's nothing like this. It's tough. Um, I guess I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty, is what I'll say. But none of it makes me happy. But I mean, I can't just choose to not fight. I can't do nothing. Because those that depend on me the same way that I depend on them, if we let each other down, then that affects everyone. That ain't right.
Mm.
So the only recourse is to get skilled, get stronger. And that's what part of this is.
I can certainly say that you have a mindset that if more people had, less things like these would happen.
Yeah. But I know that everyone's as simple minded as I am.
Mm. Yes, true.
I just wish people were more honest and open and all that, but I know that life ain't all that simple either. I'm sure this war ain't just as easy and simple as someone decided to go to war. As stupid as the actual reasons may be. But I'm not going to worry about that too much, as long as the answer eventually gets found out. If we have to take it one step at a time the way we're all doing, then I'll be part of that machine and making sure it gets done.
Kind of just nods quietly as you keep walking.
It's how it worked in the farm, after all.
Mm.
No one got the job done, it's not going to do itself. And I think at that point, maybe they get to the entrance or more or less
Mm-hmm.
like where the drills were happening again.
Mm-hmm.
She'll take the book again. Thanks again, Bandit. I'll take a good read at this, sir. And yeah, if I have any questions, I'll come back to you. But I appreciate the time.
Of course. Anytime you need something, feel free to come and ask.
I'll do.
Right. Good studies, Corona.
Thank you. That shall take her leave.
Okay. All right. We're kind of right at break time. So, I'm going to say, everybody take a brief consideration as to what you want to do with the remainder of the day. Um, before the day comes to a close, Theron is going to talk to everybody again before he departs. So just if you have anything else of particular import, make note of it, and we'll talk about it, and then we'll kind of release you back to the regular scheduled programming. But until then, we're
Sounds
gonna
good.
take a break. So we'll be back in 10 minutes. See you soon. And we're back. So, as I said before we left for the break, the day is closing, and now is the time to figure out if there's anything you want to do with the remainder of that time. You have a couple of hours remaining in the working day, if you will. For those of you, if you stayed with the Bastion to make dinner and partake of the meal or socialize during the meal, that will come to a close around 6 p.m. Unless you decide to cut out earlier, so keep that in mind. Everyone else, if you're just dedicating time to various aspects, such as study or training, all right as well. For any of you who have actively ongoing things, like Titan, for instance, and reading his Bandit's medical journal, how much time is Titan spending on that?
What time did we finish dinner-ish?
The meal with Theron?
Yeah.
That was around 3 p.m.
No.
Yeah.
Thought it was a dinner. Then probably 4 hours on the 4 hours on the medicine book. Maybe one more on the heroic gene.
Okay. Yeah. Mark them down then, because I believe you're tracking them.
I am. Yep.
Good. Yeah. Anybody else? End of day activities?
Probably just studying the book I just got for me.
Okay. Just for the remainder of the day until you go to bed?
Probably not. Probably some shooting at some point.
Yeah.
For training, but
Like,
yeah.
give me an hour.
Otherwise, yeah.
Give me an hour number.
We'll say 2 and 2, just so that she's not shooting out like at 9 p.m. or 10 p.m.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay.
Yeah.
Then somewhere, your choice, keep track of how much time you've dedicated to reading the medical training manual.
Okay.
When you've reached a certain amount of time in it, you will be rewarded for it.
Okay.
Wink, wink.
Well, I think after Audie sobered up a bit, she would venture back to the Daisy to see if there was any opportunity for the Black Butterfly to perform that night.
Let us see. Unsurprisingly, there's always a need for talent. And there are slots available later that evening on the same day.
All right, yeah, she'd wait around a bit and then get ready and show up as the Black Butterfly.
You mean you go find the Black Butterfly and tell
That's
her
right.
that you've booked a spot
Yep,
on the stage
I
for
am
it?
her agent.
Yeah, of course. Okay, make a performance check for me.
Not her best performance. She might be distracted. That's a 12.
12, yeah. It's still good. People are still entertained. But perhaps Audie is considering perhaps being a little bit buzzed still from the afternoon drinking. Is maybe affecting her a bit. But something. Roll me a D8.
That's an 8.
Okay. You've acquired 24 bits, and roll me a D4.
4.
And 4 silver.
Nice. 69 bits.
Nice. Lilith, Roz, we know you're at the Bastion camp, and we know you're also kind of entertaining Theron while he's there. But any particular details you would like to cement?
I don't think Roz does anything super special. She just sobers up, eats dinner, hears about a black butterfly show, invites the rest of the Bastion and Theron to come see it, and hangs out with the Bastion until it's time to go to bed.
Fair enough. I have to ask. So at some point during the show, Theron just kind of leans over to you, Lilith, and goes, "Isn't that just your friend Melody?"
No, that's the black butterfly. She is a mysterious performer from Greenwood, but nobody knows who she really is.
Right. Understood.
She smiles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But as for Lilith, she's just spending as much time with Theron as he's able to in the meantime.
Mm-hmm.
If they have some time alone together, she'll offer to just kind of show him some of the things she's able to do now, since she can hold a weapon a lot better than the last time they met.
Yeah. He'd be interested in seeing what Lilith can do now. He didn't want to push for it, uh, you know, due to your familiar history. But if Lilith offers, he would be more than happy to observe.
She'll probably take him over to White Cross and borrow some of their training equipment, since
Mm-hmm.
it seems like the place to go.
Yeah. Now are you just showing what you can do, or are you sparring your brother?
I think she'll start by showing off some of her archery and then offering to do a quick spar, knowing she's going to get her ass handed to her, but
Okay. He offers to handicap himself. Only one hand.
she's not really confident that'll make much of a difference, but she'll take it.
Okay. I mean, I don't think we need to pretend your brother. Essentially, imagine if Lilith was a level 1 character back when she was being trained by her mother. That's where Theron is now. So he does win, but he doesn't beat you up like a mean older sibling would. By the end
She
of
can
it,
take more than one hit, which is better than she ever did before.
yes. And all it does is confirm, especially after watching Theron work with the Bastion cooking dinner. He's very dexterous, and he's very good with knives, and he's very quick. His reactions and response times are still faster than you can keep up with right now. That being said, you can at least partially start following it, which was more than anything you could ever do before. But by the end of it, he is complimentary towards seeing your growth, and he is happy to see the improvements. And while he admits that I can see some of Mother in you, I can also see where you started growing versus just relying on her teachings. And I think that's important.
My archery is still a lot better than my swordplay, I think, and thankfully I've got a bunch of friends who love diving in at people.
Yes, right. Bravery, as it was referred to as earlier.
So, did you bring me any gifts from home?
Why, were you expecting some?
Not expecting, but I don't know, couldn't spare a really cool set of Strider armor for your little sister?
No, unfortunately. Although if you go on that suicide mission I mentioned earlier, we could talk about it.
Or now you're calling it a suicide mission after seeing me fight.
I could see how you would get there, and you're not entirely incorrect, even though that wasn't my intention. Hmm.
I know I still have a lot of growing to do. Who knows, maybe some height too.
Possibly. Uh. Hmm. Well, you have caught me. I did bring something for you. This isn't really from anyone else. Just, I feel like the way we grew up and the way things sort of turned out, we didn't really have a proper chance to actually get to know one another. And this is my way of saying that I do care pretty deeply about my family, and I'm concerned about you and how this thing in this war is unfolding. So, just when it counts, know that I'm thinking about you, and I'm trying to make sure things get better. And he pulls a dagger from the back of his belt. It's in a simple like leather sheath. Um, it's got a bit of a very stylized elvish curve to it, where it's got a bit of a sharper flourish near the top, and it likewise then sort of turns into a hook on the back. And he'll flip it over in his hand and turn the hilt towards you. And hopefully, if things don't go according to plan, maybe this is a reminder will help you feel a bit more confident.
She'll take it. She'll kind of chuckle a little bit. You know, I was thinking during dinner that you and Roz are a lot more similar than I thought. But now both of you have gifted me a dagger? She'll kind of look it over.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, it's a hand-me-down, so call me what you will for that.
For what it's worth, I don't blame you for us not really getting too close. I mean, you're like a century older than me. You were an adult when I was training with Mom. You had your own stuff to do.
Yes, you're not wrong, but I also could have been a bit braver. I could have made your younger years a little bit more tolerable. Made you feel at least a bit safer, or at least considered over versus what Mother had you go through. But she has that way. It was hard to try to insert myself to even give you a chance to breathe, so I just stayed away.
Seems we both grew up a little stunted in social. Wow, I'm letting it show really well right now, aren't I? All to say thank you, and I hope we can get closer too.
Well, this has been a good visit. Um, and I will be staying over the night. Covert told me that there's a meeting where all the mercenaries gather tomorrow afternoon, or tomorrow morning, I suppose, early noon.
mean,
I'm going to be making my announcement then, so I'll be lingering around for a time. But you can return to your friends and go spend time with your girlfriend.
yep. I'm not sure how Mom might act when she finds that out, to be honest.
Who is she to criticize you for choosing a non-traditional partner?
Don't know, but she shrugs.
Worry about things that you'll have to deal with sooner rather than later. Mother will come later.
I'm sure she will. Right. I'll be off then. She'll awkwardly shuffle forward to give him a hug.
Yeah, the hug is as awkward as everyone thinks it is. Two people who don't know how to give physical affection towards each other.
She'll head on her way.
Okay. You heading off anywhere remarkable, Lilith?
No, I imagine that took a decent portion of the evening after dinner, so she's probably just heading back to camp.
Okay.
Taking a look at the dagger.
It's pretty. Well made. The elven. You might even have a couple of vague ancestral memories of seeing weapons and bladed weapons made in a specific style that belongs to a family smith. For when you eventually decide to do something with it, if you do.
I mean, she's still got some magic for the day. I'm sure Callista will mention that it's magical in some way, and she'll go ahead and identify it.
Mm-hmm. I've posted the item in the chat. All right. Well, I think we've heard from everybody except Roz. Any special news from Roz?
Oh no, Roz was just spending time with the Bastion, see the black butterfly,
Mm-hmm.
da da da.
Yep. A lot of the Bastion members wear the T-shirts. You gifted them to the show.
Roz is in her hoodie.
Yeah.
Like the T-shirts, but a little better.
You all draw a lot of attention. And it's worth mentioning that Lucius is still one of the loudest fans for the Black Butterfly.
Oh.
He's doing his part.
Audie will absolutely be blowing kisses their way.
Roz is definitely going to try to compete. She's going to use thaumaturgy and everything to try to yell louder than him. She needs to be a louder fan.
I'll let you have this one, Roz.
You damn right she will. Oh, I said that way too loud. The spell's still on.
A bunch of people, whose ears begin ringing. No, turn it off.
Sorry. Oh, it's still going.
Anyway, if there's nothing else, the day is going to come to a close. People go to sleep.
Function.
People go to sleep. And the sun begins to rise on the second day of Le Père. Why did it change my weather? It's 24 and dark and stormy. Ignore the second one. You are welcome to your long rests if anyone needs it. And just to round out the thought, I know I said when we left, that Theron was going to talk to everybody. I lied. He is staying the night over because he wanted to talk to all the mercs. So, excuse my deception.
He wanted to talk to everyone. That just didn't include us.
That could also be just be facts.
Yeah. So, uh, Theron's cap on everything in his visit is at the noon meeting. So you all have up to noon. Previously, time passing activities, specific conversations, anything anyone would like to achieve.
I wanted to ask the group real quick, do we have any plans for the gold scraps that we have in our crafting resources?
None for me.
Because we have a merchant caravan coming through tomorrow in game, and it might be nice to sell some of those. So I could turn a bunch of them into an ingot and just sell some gold.
I'm fine with that personally.
You can sell it. Do you want gold trim on your plate armor?
That adds 2 to the difficulty. No. No, I'll take 20 of those 30 scraps, turn them into a gold ingot.
Okay.
Which takes 2 hours.
Sure. Easy enough to do in the morning.
Pay whatever price I gotta pay for renting a forge.
I think my consistent rate is a silver an hour.
Okay. In that case, while Roz is there, she has a broken set of armor that needs to be melted down anyway. Might as well melt it down into steel.
Sure.
And that's it. That's all she'll do there. And I'll
All
pay
right.
my 4 silver.
Yeah. Note your fees and moving along. Then that'll be a good chunk of Roz's morning.
Lilith is gonna get up from her trance.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to quote unquote attune with Bellathor that morning. And she's gonna look over these chaos mushrooms she gathered, see if she can use him and with some help and figure out if there's anything useful she can do with them.
Interesting. Yeah, I like that. So you can spend an hour, essentially, and make an herbalist kit check with intelligence, to try to spend some time to learn the properties of the mushroom.
Alrighty. She's not proficient in herbalist kit, so that'll just be a straight int check for her. It'll be a 17 total.
Okay. So the mushrooms are very difficult to crack. You do confirm that they are highly magical, not even just a latent magical, like leftover from being grown in a magical environment. They themselves are highly magical, which is what lends to the difficulty of discovering what they're capable of without overstepping. Which Bellathor would suggest the best way to try to figure it out would be to have someone eat one, which is something he would also then advise against because of what they are.
Alright. I think with that in mind, she's not going to eat one right away. Maybe later, and definitely not in camp. But for that, I think for the rest of the morning until the meeting. She's gonna spend time just kind of chatting with Bellathor, trying to piece together any memories he has about when he was alive. Kind of start working towards figuring out what happened to him. See if she can coax anything more out of him.
Ooh, interesting. And do me a favor, and you're just gonna make a plain Jane charisma check.
Really good for Lilith. 19.
Oh, that is pretty good. All right. You're gonna spend some time, a minimum of an hour, after you do some of the mushroom research, so 2 hours at least. And you spend that time with Bellathor and a meditative trance, on the same trance in which you rest, but in one in which you can focus yourself, something you've become pretty proficient at in regards to connecting with and spending time with a lot of the instruction that Callista's been providing to help you kind of understand and control these powers in the amulet. You use a lot of these same practices to help Bellathor channel his thoughts and try to pull at little threads of memories he has. Because when you talk to Bellathor and you ask about his past, he has snippets of things. You have a good idea that when he was alive, it's been quite some time, so it would be reasonable for his memory to be a bit distorted, maybe in pieces as it is. So you basically try to find a thread that you feel is firm enough, and you slowly begin tugging at it and hoping to continue revealing more and more. You get a couple of false threads that snap. But eventually you do find a thread where he talks about a memory he has walking through the Emerald Boughs on a somewhat regular stroll that he recalls taking every week to look for and forage ingredients to help with this potion making, and he often would muse about hoping to find something new. He is able to talk about the walk and the small interactions he has, um, including having to occasionally flee from a pack of predators that catch his scent, of which he's moderately proficient at avoiding. But he gets to a point where he realizes he's found something he has never found before. And you can feel the excitement well up in him, and likewise then well up inside of you. And as he's getting closer to talking about what it is when there's a bit of a jolt. For you, it's kind of like someone swatted you in the side of the head a little hard, where your vision kind of blurs briefly. But then for Bellathor, he goes quiet. And when you check on Bellathor next, you find that he has been forced into a resting state.
So close, but that's more to work on than I had before. She kind of talking slightly to herself and to Callista, probably, since she's assuming that Callista was paying attention to all of that.
I'm willing to bet that he found something and people killed him for it.
That would be my first thought, too. Maybe it was some really rare plant that could be used for some incredible potion.
Or it was a highly potent poison and he started experimenting on a local village with it, and it was a mob of justice that came and hunted him down and killed him. Hypothetically, of course.
Possible, though it doesn't seem much like what Bellathor is interested in.
It's always the quiet ones that go crazy.
Well, as far as what he had on him when I found his corpse, it was all healing potions, so...
Well, then if we were to go with the assumption that he is in fact the victim and was wronged in this scenario, it is likely whoever was chasing him caught up to him and in fact took what he had that was valuable.
Well, it's a good start. maybe we can figure out what it is and go on from there.
In due time, I think. You've certainly headed in the right direction. Now, if we can just track down that bandit that murdered me and kill him, I would be very happy.
It's certainly on the list. Thankfully, figuring out how to help you is a lot easier than Bellathor.
It's true. Much easier. That's why we should go do it. In your own time, of course.
I will definitely get around to it at some point. I'm not going to just string you along forever.
I would appreciate it because I feel like I've been pulling my weight here in this relationship and I've been contributing a lot, both in your physical and intimate relationships and in your magical instruction.
Yes, you've been a great help, and I think I've been repaying it back at least somewhat with the entertainment I'm providing you, because you seem to greatly enjoy meddling a lot.
I do, but mostly because I don't have any other choice in the matter. I mean, you all are great fun, but I would definitely be elsewhere doing other things right now if I had a choice in the matter.
Yes, of course.
So, of course, we're a team. We're working on goals together towards good. So, again, just when time comes, a little murder would make me feel great. That's all I'm saying.
I can at least promise that if a mission comes up that sends us that way, I'll try to convince the others to take it. If not for our sakes, then for yours.
Right. That's all I ask.
Lilith has a couple extra hours on most people, but I think at that point she's just going to hang around, do chores, eventually head over to the Bastion for breakfast.
How polite of you.
Mostly her own chores, cleaning her stuff,
Mm-hmm.
spending like an hour brushing her hair.
Sweeping a little.
Yeah. Wishing that it wouldn't be incredibly rude for them to just put that cottage up right outside the camp.
Well, you could always try. Just realize the cottage does have HP and can be destroyed.
Angry mob of villagers destroys our cottage.
Or just a spiteful tyrant. Shrug.
That's what Lilith's up to.
Okay. Got someone blacksmithing. We have someone herbalizing and analyzing. Psychoanalyzing even. We have Melody, Corona, and Titan left to consider.
We'll have 2 people blacksmithing. He's going to get to work on Roz's plate mail until the noon meeting.
Sure. Do we assume Titan's start of his day is 6 a.m.? Is that a happy number?
Yeah. We'll assume 6 a.m.
Okay.
I think gives him 3 checks. It's a check per 2 hours.
Yeah, basically. So yeah, if you just want to knock those out, we can do that.
All right.
Do you have all the numbers, or do I need to fetch them?
I don't have all the numbers.
Fetching. Compendium of Crafting Creation. To the blacksmithing section. Okay. Roz's armor doesn't have any modifications to it?
Not as far as I know.
All right. Then it is a DC 17.
Hey. And for blacksmithing, I do my ice plus, which modifier am I using? Strength?
It is blacksmith tools proficiency plus strength mod, yeah.
first one's a failure.
Bad.
Second one is a success.
Nice.
The third one is a success.
Very nice. Yeah, 2 more successes to the list.
And 2 successes. Okay, that's it for Titan.
Okay. Corona, Melody.
Do you want to go first, Melody, or should I? I have something that might take a little bit of time. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can. Audie was actually intending to just go to, she would probably get up early, um, she was realizing that, while her younger brothers are doing swords training, she hasn't really been doing her own. So she would probably go and catch up with either White Cross or the Bastion. She's looking to go through like forms, not so much to get beat on. So probably White Cross, I'm guessing.
Yeah, White Cross is, if you want a bit more of a traditional form of swordsmanship, White Cross is your choice.
Yeah, she wants to go practice that because she's been focusing heavily on the magic side and hasn't really been doing a lot of physical training.
Yeah. And physical training, really easy to come by at White Cross. There are always plenty of instructors for that. How much time are you going to spend there?
Assuming she's, up with her younger brother, she'll probably be there till like 9 or 10, 3-4 hours.
Okay. Yeah, perfectly fine. And yeah, your younger brother is up and at Covert's very early swordsmanship training, of which, interestingly enough to note, all of the kids there have, at least for the moment, decided on their sword forms that Covert has helped them carve from wood. And it's very interesting to see out of the gaggle of kids that he's teaching, about a dozen or so kids, that everyone's various sword forms are very unique to them.
Nice. Does she happen to see her 2 bodyguards from the other day?
They are there, yes.
Yeah, she kind of gives them a look and a smile. Yeah, a bit of a nod of approval.
Mm-hmm. One will give you a wave, and the other one will whack him on the head with his stick, and then point towards Covert, who's currently in the middle of instructing.
Yeah, and she'll kind of give a look like, yeah, you should have seen that coming. Yeah, that's pretty much gonna be her morning.
Okay. Well then, Corona, what's your thing?
Yep. So I have a couple of questions actually.
Yeah,
These
shoot.
things might be like lightning fast, or they might take like a couple minutes. But
See?
the I guess the first question is not to put you on the spot either, but do you have an hour requirement or time frame for how much it might take to read the medical training manual?
I'm not sure what the question is.
Like, do you have an hour requirement? Like, what is the
Oh, yes.
end goal basically?
Well, so like how long will it take you? 40 hours.
40 hours. Okay, because it says because I can actually set that. So just for the sake of tracking that properly,
Yeah.
I want to put that there. Okay. Also, hold on. Would this feature count towards it? / is it already counting towards it? The quick learner? Not. Oh, it's not showing. How do I make it show? Basically.
Oh yeah, it would.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I was not. I was not accounting for that, but it would account. So you can.
Okay.
You can cut that in half.
Okay. Sweet. All right. So that's question 1. Question 2, and this one's a lot. This one might not have an answer that we remember. We might just have to kind of make it up.
Right.
But did Corona's mom and dad ever say how they got out of Greenwood?
Yeah, they've told you the tale.
They've told? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, because
Uh,
I don't know if she ever really had the time to ask because everything was going crazy in that moment.
it was when everybody reunited in the forest.
Mm,
And it was like that initial night of everybody together, and you were having that uneasy camp, without
yeah,
knowing if
in
you're being
the
pursued. Yeah,
yeah. Okay,
they
okay,
would have told Corona the story,
okay, okay.
which is the reason why they showed up later than everybody else. Is that because they couldn't evacuate to Greenwood, when because they began heading there, and when they were on the way there, they ran into some of the buggers.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and after fighting one of them off, to which Pa was injured, that's why he had a limp when he caught up. They took the long way around, which is a couple hours longer in terms of where they headed immediately south through some of the rougher thicket outside of the farmland, and then came up on the underside of the lake south of Greenwood, and that's when they arrived.
Gotcha.
It allowed them
Okay.
to avoid a lot of the conflict, but at the expense of time.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much for that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I guess that's most of it out of the way then. I think to answer the question of what she's doing, um, probably, just getting breakfast,
Mm-hmm.
and probably bringing some to mom and pa if they're around, slash if they need it. Um, if not, we'll say that she's probably splitting time between we'll say reading for like 3 hours,
Okay.
and then maybe working on her hat a little bit more for if we're assuming waking up at like 6.
Yeah, I
We'll
think
say
6 is the assumption.
okay, then yeah, we'll say three for the book, and 2 for the hat, and then just take it easy for the last hour,
Okay, sure.
I think.
You wanna roll your check for your tailoring?
Sure. Let's see.
The DC to beat is
Leatherworkers
8.
tools. Okay. Leatherworkers tools, I presume.
Yeah. Weaver's tools? Question mark.
Oh right, yeah.
I mean,
I forgot there's a
if that's
handout.
if that's what you have, um, I would be okay with it being leathers workers if that's what you have.
That is what I have. Yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty indifferent to the choice there.
Okay. And this would be intelligence.
Um, I don't know. I think we've been going with Dex.
I think that's yeah. I think that's what we've been going with. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Alrighty.
My gut's saying.
Okay.
Oh,
17.
yeah. Honestly, working on
Okay.
this hat is more of a like a meditative exercise at this point.
It is. It's a passion project. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for sure. Yeah.
And I highly expect to see like an image of this hat at some point.
Oh, it'll be on her.
Good.
It'll be on her art. Yeah.
Excellent.
Okay. But yeah, that's what she's doing for 5 hours and then 1 hour resting.
Okay. Everyone has a productive morning. Um, so yeah, for those of you who have done projects in progress, make note, convert items, do as you need. Over the course of that time, for those of you who are kind of wandering around, you would catch sight of Theron, who was up quite early. He helps prepare breakfast for the Greenwood camp. He does socialize amongst the other refugees that you've brought there to get to know people. He's extremely courteous and kind to everybody, and he thanks everybody for caring for Lilith. And he's very loud that he's Lilith's sibling. Um, he does sit in during Covert's swordsmanship lesson as well. And they even give a mock duel between the two of them, which is more instructional than it is actual like head on. To which the kids love, because both of them are very exceptional in their fields. And eventually, time will pass, and you will all regather together. At the very least, I'm assuming most of you will, for the noon meeting where the mercenaries are going
Yes.
together. The announcement chimes from Covert will echo out, and mercenaries will begin congregating in the center of the camp. Representation from all of the various mercenaries will be there. Again, continuing to note that the growth of the refugees, the mercenaries from the refugee camp, is noticeable. And while they will probably never outgrow entirely the numbers that White Cross represents, they do overall now outnumber the combined numbers of the other mercenary camps combined. Which they also have varying levels of success. But it is worth noting that a couple of people are beginning to gain some reputation. And words are being thrown around, such as heroes and awakened, things that have caught your ears because you are among them, despite being called greenies. Covert is there. All the mercenaries are gathered. He stands on the top of his podium, his desk. He calls attention to everybody. And he looks around. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm glad everybody could make it again. We currently have a couple of individuals out on mission. No reports back from them yet. We have a new round of mission letters that have been sent us, which I will be organizing and have prepared for tomorrow. No new news on the war front. As previously reported, choke points have been fallen back to, new bases have been established, and it is ideally hoped that it will be the automaton menace will be held there to help reduce casualties and to buy us time, so we can continue as the individuals on the outside of the war front to act in decisive manners to help with that endeavor. So, in regards to that, we have a guest today, a member from the Wise division of Saphinus, a Captain Elana, who has a mission that he's offering. Captain? And Theron steps up. He has a helmet tucked under his arm. He looks very officious, carrying himself in a manner that he just really didn't yesterday. Thank you all for gathering. Thank you for taking this opportunity to listen to me. We have gathered intelligence that has indicated a significant foundry that the gnomes have built in the nether layer that is on the boundary between Azael and Novergard. It is one of the central hubs in which a lot of their resources are being funneled into, and has allowed them to produce a large amount of automatons and quickly deploying them to the surface where the warfront is nearby. It is a large structure. It's going to require a lot of manpower in order for us to successfully take it down. I am going to numerous camps on the southern side of the continent that are housing similar individuals such as yourselves, mercenaries willing to do work for incentives. This is going to be extremely dangerous, but the rewards will likewise reflect that. For those of you willing to participate, we have signing bonuses of 5,000 silver per head, 10,000 silver per head for a success, and likewise negotiations that will open up the doors to Saphinus' armory and enchanters. If any of those sound worthwhile, and with consideration that that is the price you would be putting on your life for this mission, given its extreme danger, we need those individuals willing to step forward to participate in this. If you have an interest, come speak to me after. I will be here until the end of dinner, and until such a time I will move on to find others. Thank you. Theron gives a 1/4 bow and steps down off the podium. All right, everybody. You heard the captain. Take time, consider. If that's something you have an interest in, go speak to him. For those of you that are new to this mercenary lifestyle, Missions that I've been assigning to many of you that are new have been between ranks of E and D. The mission that the captain is offering is hovering between B and A, with the possibility to escalate to even S, depending upon circumstances unforeseen. So please consider that. While it might be tempting, the value in which the money they are offering, not a lot of that will matter if you don't have a lifetime to spend it. That said, if there are any questions, concerns, you will understand this part of the meeting. Now is your chance to pose them. Gilbert stands there quietly, waiting a couple of heartbeats to see if Renby steps forward. Okay, thank you all for coming. Well, you know where I'm going to be. If you have any questions you need to ask in private or conversations you need to have, the captain will have a desk that I will arrange just over there, and he gestures to a point on the inside of the camp along the picket that separates him from the other northern mercenary camps. Otherwise, thank you for coming down and visiting. You are dismissed. And the usual hustle and bustle of the various individuals separating and going back to their respective camps and groups begins to unfold.
We'll kind of look at the other greenies and just say, why does it feel like that warning was pointed directly at us?
Probably because it kind of was, since we're kind of these upstarts trying to prove ourselves, and also your brother probably really, really wants us to not get ourselves killed.
Yeah, I feel like the warning came yesterday. He mentioned that it wouldn't be worth the reward. He didn't mention what the reward was until just now. I think he was just being honest with us yesterday, so he wouldn't get in over our heads and see silver and want to take it up for nothing.
I mean, he did start calling it a suicide mission after I sparred with him, so
Right, so again, that just kind of seems like maybe he's trying to convince you not to do it, and as foolhardy as I often am and want to be, yeah, I don't think that we're the right people for this.
No. There's plenty of stronger people in this camp. Let them handle it if they want. But I don't want to go out there to die.
what about tomorrow?
Let me think. No, I don't think so.
Part of me does want to try and prove that I'm capable enough to do something like that, but the more rational part of is agreeing with both of you.
You don't have to prove anything to him. And from the sound of it, you damn sure don't need to prove anything to your mother. She makes even worse decisions than me.
Now let's not push that much on her.
Right?
I doubt you need it, Roz. A word of advice.
Mm.
Don't go saying that around her mom, or else you're going to get another hole in your chest.
Yeah. I'm not scared of her.
You don't have to be scared.
Yeah, for the future, when I'm inevitably introducing all of you to my mother, Ross, you're not allowed to drink.
Yes, ma'am.
Considering one of the first things you did upon meeting my brother is call our mother a bitch.
I think that's very wise, yes. I will be as respectful as possible, and I will not touch a glass, I promise. I'm gonna need you to remind me of that promise when the time comes.
I will.
Okay.
Well, if not that mission, we should probably take a look at what else there is, huh?
Right. What do we got?
It's always that totem, too.
Honestly, true. A possibility.
I think Melody mentioned the Dusty Daisy mission yesterday.
We could see if it's still available. We only took a day.
I'd
Yes.
like to be in town tomorrow when the caravan comes through, since it's our first chance to spend money without actually, gouging our pockets.
Fair point.
uh, Greenies? Can I interrupt you?
What's up?
Ah.
What you need?
Oh, don't mind me. I was just coming in to make sure that you have no interest in going to sign up for the mission that Lola's brother is proposing.
Nuh-uh.
Well,
Good.
maybe I'd like to go do a suicide mission real quick. Get enough silver to die on.
As I was saying to them, part of me does want to go on it, but the rational part is winning out.
We do not want to go on this mission. No.
Good. I thought I would just come over and make sure. I know some of you don't always make the best decisions, so I thought maybe a level head could come, facilitate a better choice.
Again, why do I feel like we're talking about me?
I think maybe the fact that you immediately assumed bad decisions is talking about you really says it all.
Shut up. But also, fair point.
Yeah. You should really listen to your fairer half, Ross.
I do, in fact, listen to her. That's why I didn't die in the murk.
Good. 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 Excellent. So, are you all looking for something to do still?
That would be nice. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Can't work our way up to missions like that if we don't keep going on ones we're capable of.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's true. It's true. I
We
mean,
were thinking, oh, sorry, go
no,
ahead.
no, go ahead, Corona. What do you have to say?
I was just gonna say that we were thinking of finding something quick. That way we could still be here when the caravan comes by tomorrow.
Or something that would send us out after the caravan gets here.
So
Right.
yes, if you're trying to come and go in 24 hours or less, which would be impressive. I mean, there is something, but there's nothing exciting to do. There's always something around in the area that needs doing. If you want to earn some easy silver, I have something I can give you that takes a day. You're going to have to walk there, though, for what it's worth.
As long as it's doable within the day, don't seem too bad.
Well, it's a couple hours to the south. There are a bunch of giant crabs that need to be killed. Not glamorous work, but it needs to be done.
Like at the beach.
No, along the riverbank. The beach is
And
too far away for a day's walk.
they gotta be killed. Why exactly? For food or?
Well, if you want to harvest them for food, great. It's mostly because of their size and strength. They're capable of killing people that can't defend themselves, such as you.
Hmm.
So, I mean, if you wanted something quick and easy, that's what I have to offer you. Now, like I said, if you wanted to just bide your time until the caravan comes through tomorrow, I have missions on offering after that.
Is anyone desperate to go kill crabs? Or
I've been interested in the hero totem for a while now. Might be a good time to try and take it on.
That might have to wait until after the caravan, though. I don't think that's a day and back kind of thing, is it?
Not really, no. Given the report from the chapter of fire, the time that it occurs within the totem is about a day and a half. So I mean, you would be late to the caravan, assuming everything goes perfectly well.
I also assume the caravan isn't just going to come and then go in the same day.
They're here for 24 hours.
Be cutting it pretty close.
We also have family. People that'll be staying here. I give them a list. It's not like they're unused to shopping.
Yeah, the problem is I don't know what I want. I have to look at it.
There are a lot of good wares coming through, I can promise that much. I may or may not know the merchant.
How's that gonna work anyway? Is it first come, first serve? Or should we expect a stampede or something?
I mean, it's going to be busy, for sure. People are always going to look forward to an opportunity to buy from outside the current ecosystem. Especially if prices are on the fairer side. So in regards to certain things, yeah, first come, first serve, absolutely. But it will be controlled at the very least. The merchantry coming through is then, you know, a bunch of ragtag nobodies. They'll keep everything orderly. And I don't know if this will influence anyone's decisions, but they will have a couple of representatives from the Draconic Empire from the south with them. Just putting that up there.
All right, well, I think I'm going to speak for everyone. Unless anyone wants to interrupt me, we're not interested in going killing a bunch of crabs. Does anyone want to go kill? Does anyone want to kill crabs?
Not especially.
I'm not against it if we don't have anything better to do.
Right.
I mean, it would give us more silver for spending.
Fair point.
I mean, if you all don't take it,
Safety training.
I'll just give it to the Bastion. They love going in that direction.
But I was just, if you give it to the Bastion, I'm just going to go with them.
That's more of a you problem.
Fair enough. I guess I'm hunting crabs either way.
It seems as if my presence has definitely made this whole situation more complicated for all of you. So, I'm going to leave. And if you figure something out, just come let me know.
Yep. Sorry for wasting your time.
Mm-hmm. No problem. Don't worry. No time wasted here. I'm going to get back to my paperwork.
Oh, right. One thing real quick before you get back to your paperwork.
Yes, Roswin?
Yeah, I'm gonna say this somewhat quietly, but
Okay.
Audie over there is kind of a fucking idiot and doesn't know how to say this out loud.
That's not very nice.
She's my best friend, I can say that. She really likes you. She'd like to spend more time with you, just doing whatever with you. What sort of things do you like to do?
Wow, you're really just gonna do this like here in front of all the other ones?
I'm nothing if not bold.
Right. Bravery. I've heard people talking about that lately.
Starting to feel like an insult, isn't it?
A little bit, yeah.
Well, I get results.
Mm-hmm. Me personally, I don't really think focus on my hobbies right now because I'm very busy. But normally, I'm more of one for quiet activities, uh, fishing, uh, book reading, write poetry occasionally, things like that.
All right, great.
Hmm.
And if someone wanted to spend a little time with you doing any of those things, do you
Hmm.
have any time for any of those things at all?
Not for anybody that is not willing to ask me themselves.
All right, I'm going to go tell her that.
Great. Glad we had this
Audie,
conversation.
Audie,
She'll have kind of been distracted looking around, taking an assessment of who's all new and everything. She kind of turns back. "Hmm?"
all right, I just did half the work for you. Go talk to Covert and ask him on a date.
And she kind of blinks a little bit. I don't think he has time for that right now.
Only if you ask him.
I don't
Audie,
think
so help me, by the bears, I will drag you to that table.
I had to watch you sidestep and walk around Lilith for at least 3 years. Wait, how long have we known Lilith? She's been in the town for like 3 or 4 years, right? I'm like, wait.
3 years, yeah.
Be like, I think you can handle waiting another day or two.
You being patient is your fault, not mine. Audie,
I suppose there's some things out, that's all.
Audie,
What?
just go do it.
Are you what? You don't have anything to hang over me anymore. You already told him I'd act him. You're really bad at playing cards.
Oh, is this the one time where you're not willing to say something to someone?
Because this is the one time it matters, Ross.
Then this is a perfect time to actually say it. We are in the middle of a war. Tomorrow is not a guarantee. And I want to see my best friend live her fucking life. Do you understand? I want you to live your life and be happy. And I think this would make you happy, at least for a little while.
Might. It might. It's a little weird not being at Greenwood anymore. Not being at home, you know?
Audie, come on. I'll stand right by you. And if you get a no, then that's all right.
Rose, it's going to seem like you put me up to it now. What's seem
I am
genuine at
putting
all?
you up to it. He can
I
hear me.
know. He can hear everything. Why do you think I talked you in the forest up the river? So hopefully they couldn't hear when I was screaming, barking mad.
Oh, you knew you couldn't trust me. I'm not going to force you. But if you don't do it now, and you don't do it ever, it's just going to get harder every day that you don't do it.
About a bet then. Whoever kills the most crabs gets their way.
So we are killing the crabs.
It could be. Got nothing better to do. I mean, you don't want to let your brothers and sisters have it fun.
You are impossible.
Of course I am. You wouldn't be my best friend if I wasn't.
Fine. Fine. I'll take the wager. Why not? Does everyone want to go kill crabs after all?
be back before sundown. And would that be the perfect time? He won't be busy with as much paperwork then.
You remain impossible, Melody Ulbricht.
And she's grinning.
I'm gonna kill so damn many crabs, you mark my words.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, well, I suppose we should get our things in and meet up before we head out of town. Or
I
is this
hate you.
town?
I want you to
What?
know that. Melody, I hate you.
I know, and you're going to hate me even more tonight, I promise you that.
Why would I hate you more tonight?
Because you're going to be killing crabs with me all day. And I'll
Why?
be singing and I'll be
Mm.
dancing, and it will just make you angry, and it'll make you kill even more. And then you'll bring all them home, and we'll have crab stew, and everybody will be singing your praises.
I hate that you're using my desire to make everyone love me against me in this moment because it's a weird moment to do it. Fine, I'll go get my damn armor. Oh, I can't believe I'm going to kill crabs for a bet. I'm just trying to help you.
And she like blows you a kiss as you like wander off. Because I mean, I'm imagining Audie came to the sit rep more or less prepared. She figured we were going to be going out on something. Otherwise, I mean, maybe not. But
This is the most annoyed Roz has ever been going to get ready for a fight.
and now this might be Kay pissing off Sam. But here we go.
No, no.
When the
Uh,
oh yeah, so when the party disperses, Audie's just gonna stand there being like, "Yeah, we're totally gonna meet up." And when she sees Roz is out of sight, march right over to Covert's desk.
Oh, gee, if it isn't Melody Albrecht, how can I help you?
Don't, Covert, just don't.
Of course. What can I do for you, Melody?
Roz is a sweetheart, and she's not wrong. I'd really like to get to know you better, but it's kind of the middle of a war. So if you don't mind, I might come over once in a while with my dinner and just kind of sit next to your desk, share stories or something.
I'd like that. Feel free to stop by and we can share dinner anytime.
Right. And just so you know, because you probably overheard it, I'm probably going to have to do this again later tonight, but it's going to be probably awkward because, well, I think I just spurred the fire under Roz to make sure that she kills a boatload of dinner for the camp.
Mm-hmm. I'll just let her know that it's 25 silver per crab killed, so.
I will absolutely let her know that.
Good. Well, happy hunting.
Of course. Best of luck with your paperwork.
Thank you. It's endless.
I have decent penmanship if you ever need a hand.
It's also sensitive, but I appreciate the offer.
Well, if there's ever just anything that's not sensitive. I should actually go get ready. I didn't bring all of my gear. Bye.
Goodbye, Melody. And because it kind of feels like we've perfectly run out the time, we're just going to end the session there tonight. Confused as to whether or not we're killing crabs or not. Who knows?
Two of us are.
Yeah, sure. Let's split the party. Why not?
Oh God.
I was gonna say, we could write it off as something off screen. A couple of rolls.
It could be a write-off mission. I'm going to reduce your rewards if that's the case, though. But yeah, we can hash that out later. It's not super important to do that now. Yeah, crabs maybe. Crabs maybe not. Schrodinger's crab. Who knows? Yeah, we're finished. Next week, a mission visit from a merchant. May or may not know who that merchant is. Shrug. Yeah. Gonna keep it simple. Make your choices. We'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for
Bye-bye.
watching.
Bye.
Thanks for hanging out, chat. You guys are the best. Bye.
Bye. Oh, we're gonna rate some delightful people too,
Send us off. Oh, nice.
because Kelly and them are back.
Been a minute.
Go and watch some Vampire the Masquerade.
Very nice.
They are delightful people and great storytellers.
And we're free.